Welcome to episode 9, non-evidence-based alternative and complementary therapies, including crystal therapy, tarot card reading, psychics, mediums, clairvoyance, cardinal therapy, reflexology, aromatherapy, sound therapy, yoga therapy. Yoga therapy is interesting because I do know people that actually have it stated and approved in their plans at the moment. Wilderness therapy, which I'd never heard of before. Animal therapy, including puppy therapy and goat therapy. And I'm going to say goat therapy and puppy therapy were not on the draft list. They've been added since the draft list.
Well,
I've got to just pull you up.
Hair therapy, alternative or complementary medicine.
Before we go anywhere, we've got to say that, at least the tarot card reading and the clairvoyance should have seen this coming.
They should have seen this coming. Yes.
There's definitely not evidence-based, just based on that fact.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to say, most of these things are not, because this isn't equine therapy. I want to point out this is not equine therapy. This is non-evidence-based therapy. And I did read recently something from Bill that said that equine therapy is still being...
This is where...
It's still being reviewed, isn't it?
Considered.
What
no,
if
you watch the actual release, and this is me being nerdy, and someone actually pointed this out to me. When he was asked, is equine therapy still covered, he was very clear to say, if you have it in your current plan.
Yes.
So possibly moving forward.
But it's not on here at the moment. And I'm going to say some of these things like sound therapy.
And it doesn't necessarily, if you look in the price guide, equine therapy also stipulates it has to be delivered by
a
therapy provider.
Right.
But there's nothing, there's not a lot of external controls over whether someone can actually stop the NDIA from including evidence-based practices, modes of practice.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. They were very clear to say last night that if you have a counsellor or psychologist and they use some of these things as part of their practice, that's perfectly okay.
Because I've got to point out that whilst the NDIS choose what they will and won't fund, they don't provide clinical governance to allied health providers, so their peak bodies essentially are responsible for policing practice within their sort of fraternity.
I'm pretty sure most of this is just because anybody can just...
That's right, these aren't allied
These are like, I can just... I'm a wilderness therapist.
That's right. I have goats on my farm. You come and cuddle a goat.
Yeah, which whilst cuddling a goat...
Sounds great.
Going to a little kitten cafe makes you feel wonderful, but it's not,
evidence-based.
It's anecdotally evidence-based, and I reckon anyone could do a study on it, but also it's not necessarily something that is needed. But if your psychologist wanted to take you to one of those places and do your session there because it helped you, that's fine, because you're paying for your psychologist.
And I've got to point out as well, if they're adding these sorts of services in on top of the service they're already providing, there's a lot of allied health providers that are out there that charge higher rates than they do to NDIS participants and have to keep their clinics running, and the NDIS rates are actually lower than mainstream rates. There's also a bit of confusion over session times and the like, but if they can fit in the cost of feeding a horse, it's
it's being delivered by a qualified person.
But who knows? They might even ask for an extra out-of-pocket cost to cover far lapse hay or something.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for watching episode 9.